Hey, I was just talking about property rights in WA and the assault on farmers over there, but it's coming to a town near you because the Federal Housing Minister, Julie Collins, she says she now supports regulatory interventions into the Airbnb market. She says that's impacting rents. Well, it may well be, Gary, but if you own your own home and you want to put tenants in it permanently, that's one thing. You want to sell it, fine. You want to Airbnb it. Surely, if you own your own house in this country, we used to believe in private property rights.
Yeah, but this mob don't believe in private property rights. And let's face it, they're partners in this economic crime, the Greens. They want to tax every family home. And Peter, the problem now is the government is saying they won't tax the family home. But what is a family home? They're now trying to tell you how to use your home. Is a family home 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, anything above that? Well, it's up for the government to inspect. And I don't think I'm overhyping this to say that the real genuine fear is this is the thin edge of the wedge. Airbnb one day, we say nothing. They're going to come for the family home that's, say, 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms next. Anything is possible. You know, if you've got 3 spare bedrooms in your house, they may well tell you you've got to take a few homeless people in. That's the sort of nonsense we're seeing from this, frankly, Stalinist style of government that we've now got in this country. It's bloody frightening, Peter.
Keith, I'm going to give my listeners and viewers a bit of a sneak peek of a big speech you're giving this week at the Sydney Institute. And you're talking about energy and the insanity of Chris Bowen's energy. Some of this will go on the screen. You're talking about 2 million plus hectares of solar panels right across the country. That's going to hit our farmers and growers. A big tarpaulin across our natural environment. You talk about wind turbines. You talk about 10,000 kilometres of transmission lines through easements that don't exist. $80 billion plus that, of course, be passed on to consumers. You talk about all the issues with EVs, none of which have costed, of course. 7 years, we hit 2030. It's all supposed to be done by then, so says the legislation. I mean, when you tally it all up like you do in this speech, it's incredibly sobering.
Chris Bowen would have to be sainted if he manages to pull all this off.
He won't.
Especially in the next 7 years. I don't think they'll even get the approvals done by then, Peter. And on top of that, we'll look at Western Australia. You've now got all these cultural requirements that didn't exist before. It'll impact these projects just as much as it does on the East Coast. And quite simply, it's a fantasy. And what will happen, well, we'll have blackouts, we won't have reliable supply, we'll lose our coal-fired generators because they simply won't be maintained. And I think it's a real danger for this nation. It's one of the reasons that I'm speaking this week. It's been something that's been built up for a while, actually been writing it for some time. So those out there, don't panic, it's nothing behind it. But look, I just think we need to stand by our values and do things that work and do things that are in the interest of the Australian people.
I do have to ask you about that. You make that point because there was speculation over the weekend, for those who didn't read it, that David Littleproud, the National Party leader, is for the high jump. It's either Keith running for the job, which I think is not a bad idea, or Barnaby Joyce. Barnaby said this weekend, not interested. But I mean, if I had $1 for every time a politician says they're not interested in the leadership, I'd be a very rich woman. People not happy in the National Party camp, Keith?
Oh, Peter, it was an interesting approach for the headline. I mean, having a 4-letter last name, I guess, always helps. But it was nice that it was used in a different way. Mate, look, for me, firstly, I haven't spoken to a single soul. I haven't asked one of my colleagues for a vote. You can put a line through me. But as you've said, I mean, we've seen all this before. It's not unusual. And you know, to be frank, in this game, you perform or you get moved down the road. So, look, I don't see anything happening. I think the bottom line here is we need to act in the interest of the Australian people. They deserve us to do everything we can to get rid of a very bad Labor government who is absolutely killing them, killing the economy, making their life harder and making it more difficult for them to pay their bills.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. That could be a campaign opening pitch, but we'll let you off the hook tonight. Gentlemen, thank you. See you next week.